We're good.
Yeah.
We're good. All right, so we're sitting here with Brady. Brady, you play Calvin Clone.
Yes.
Okay, where did you get the name Calvin Clone? I mean, obviously, it sounds like Calvin Klein.
Yeah. So when I got that, when I was looking at like character art for him and trying to figure out what he looked like, it kind of ended up looking very like model-esque and everything.
Yeah.
So what I was trying to go for was something that wasn't copyright infringed upon. So what I did was and I use overseas sports enthusiast. So I picked Kelvin because, um, is it just because it sounded um, Calvin,
Right.
but I picked Kelvin because it's more of like a temperature gauge. So like,
Right.
and versus like the metric system, a lot of different things we over here in like at least America people don't understand a lot. So I figured that was one of the ones they would have commonly know. So I picked that.
So with morticians, originally I had everything metric.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, dude, like we need to get away from Imperial, right? And so it was like everything's metric. But as I was play testing it, and because we are in the States, people just could not wrap their head around metric, and so they struggled with how things weighed. Weight was actually the big one. Like they couldn't weight and distance. Like distance really, like you tell people, okay, well it's
Yeah.
is this many meters away, and they're like, what is that? And it's like, well, it's like basically a yard. So if I'm
Yeah.
already telling them converting it to a
You
yard,
can look at most people say a yard, and they're like go blank for a little while. Like I'll use a yard just in D&D terms when I'm talking about any other game I'm doing. People are like blank out for a second, and I'm like, okay, they're like that's like this many feet, and they're like, oh, okay.
So your character is a overseas sports enthusiast. Have you done a lot of research since we started playing on overseas sports? And out of all the research, what is your now favorite overseas sport?
Well, I did a little bit, but I've actually attached on to cricket a lot more because that's like one of the most popular overseas sports altogether, anyways.
Right.
And specifically, they're popular in India and Australia. So, I mean, at least for the top players. So I looked into who were the top players so I could start quoting. So, when people say Kobe, I was looking at things that people could say like Bradman or stuff like that, or different things like all-time highest sports players. I'm trying to figure out like a good catchy way to do that, which I haven't figured out yet, but hopefully I'll see that on a later Morticians episode.
How did your character get to be in Sanctuary Valley?
So what originally happened, well, at least what I believe happened, he was overseas, like, partaking in different sports because he can get most of the stuff over there. So I went over there to experience it firsthand, and then when he came back is when all this crisis started happening, and he made his way slowly back to where his hometown was, because when he came back, he could only get a plane very far from where he was, so he had to hike all the way back across.
Okay, so what is Calvin Clone's hometown?
I actually did not think that through. I didn't know. I wanted to make. I wasn't 100% sure where we were starting when we started Magician, so I wanted to kind of leave that open. I wanted to make sure it fit. So I was like, whenever we get into the world and I figure out,
maybe a town inside Sanctuary Valley.
Yeah, I was figuring something there, but I wasn't aware of all the names and everything. So I figured if he needed to know his home, he might want to know the names first. So I was like, I'll wait till that happens, and then I'll make sure it's suited well.
So as we go deeper into the story and your character levels up, what do you see for your character's like future?
I'm not sure, honestly. I was hoping that as I learn more about the world, he'll be able to find a new purpose. So his old purpose was, his identity was just a sports guy. So hopefully, through playing, he'll develop like a more in-depth personality beyond just being like a top level, like a visceral,
becoming the hero
guy.
Basically is your hero's journey. Just that,
becoming a deeper person rather than just the guy that you see that knows all the sports quotes.
Something more than just a jock.
Yes, exactly.
I've got a brain too, I swear.
Yeah, so he's traveling from being growing from being just the person who just like. I have my fantasy football league, but it's not football in this term, but fantasy football league, and I have all these sports I do outside of my job, my hobby. But now he's going to be like more than just that, hopefully.
Right. So you mentioned finding your hometown. Does Calvin have a family?
He just his grandparents. So
Okay.
no mother father figure, but just his grandparents. And his outlook was not too positive because they were supposed to be older. So
Okay, that's an interesting character choice because I know that you know your mom's still alive. Why did you pick for Calvin grandparents as the parental units instead of mom and dad?
Probably because at least for my parents are significantly older, so most people just think they're my grandparents anyways. So
What do you think of the story so far?
what do I think of the story so far?
Yeah, like your adventure in the Mortician's universe on the zombie trail.
What I'm most interested right now is figuring out like what's up with those sheriffs that came by, because
Yeah,
it's interesting to have like another group that is also trying to accomplish the same task but for a different purpose or whatever. I don't know what the
right.
purpose is at this point. I don't personally, and my character doesn't know either. So I just want to. I'm less interested in figuring out like what their motives are for expanding their version of whatever they have called is ours is sanctuary. Theirs is I don't know, but whatever theirs is, I want to know what their purpose is in it.
Yeah, and for like the viewers at home and the people watching who watch the show who also watch like Ladies of the Horde, um, I haven't introduced the cluster or their sheriffs, and they will be a part of the core rule book when it releases. So I felt that the Zombie Trail, since we're going to do the core rule book this year, is a perfect opportunity to start introducing this faction of loosely organized. And I'm not going to say anything more than that.
To not give away to me, which will be
Guy, I want you. I
understand.
kind of want to dole it out a little bit at a time, to kind of reveal the bigger picture. So what's
Yeah.
going to be really fun is that we're going to do this. So as I mentioned, we lost half our players to tonight's game, so we're doing these interviews instead. And what's going to be really fun is on nights where we can't play because we don't have enough players to play, doing these interviews later on down the road and seeing from this point to that point how much has changed and grown and kind of touch bases and everything. I think this is a perfect opportunity to talk about your shirt, Dragon's Horde. So for those of you just clicking in, starting, watching us, Brady here co-owns the Dragon's Horde right here in Fresno, California, off of Bullard and Marks. Brady, why don't you share a little bit about the store and your guys' story?
So me and my wife Jen, we opened the store a couple years ago. We went from both of us having various different jobs, and we over time we realized that one thing we always do is TTRPGs, and everything that goes along with it. So we were like, what do we want to do? And that was an easy answer. Mostly Jen pushed for it. I was a little more skeptical, but I'm glad that she pushed me to it. But what we do is try to create a community-based store that brings in local creators along with community-run games. And so if you're like in Fresno, you're probably going to be, if you or even in there at all, you'll see a lot of front faces in there that you'll see around town as well.
And I have to say, Cox and Media, my wife and I, and Morticians, we were, we've told the story a dozen times, but we were on our way to get groceries when we saw your store and popped in, and the friendships and relationships that we've built. And if you guys don't know, check out Ladies of the Horde. Denny, played by Jen. Jen is his wife. She's on that show. Just the community that's grown from your store and all the people who've joined the Morticians world through you guys. So we're really thankful for that. And that's exactly what you just said. Like you are building this community base for people to stop by a local game shop and build friendships and have a good time. And I love the Dragon's Horde.
Yeah, I mean that's our goal is that we figured D&D and tabletop RPGs and like Morticians, they're all friend-based, community-based. It's all like you're in a close-knit group. So what you can't have I mean, at least from my perspective, you can't have a TTRPG store without having a great community. If you don't have a great community, you don't have a store. You just have like a building with product.
Exactly. And part of that outreach is last year you guys ran a very successful Extra Life campaign. You guys raised, what was it, $2,700?
Yep.
That's fantastic. And
one day, yeah.
And this year, just in a little bit, I think it's April 12th, 13th, 14th.
Yep.
You guys are running another Extra Life event. So if you're in the Fresno area, swing by the shop on the 12th, 13th, and 14th of April 2024 and check out. They're going to be running games. All of the proceeds of the event goes to help Valley Children's Hospital. And it's really rad to see so many of our core group being so excited to participate in a fundraiser that's so beneficial to these kids.
And we also want to say thank you to all our DMs who are volunteering their time to help out.
Oh, yeah.
All DMs volunteered all their time, 100%, to give as much back as they can.
And if this airs before and you're interested, reach out to Dragon's Horde at dragonshordestore.com and drop them a line if you're available to DM or if you want to play a game. I know there's still a couple of tables open for a couple of the days, but those tables are disappearing fast. A lot of people are wanting to volunteer and participate in this fundraiser, which is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it's amazing. We have, I think 14 to 16 DMs, so a lot of people wanting to DM, a lot of people volunteering their time. So, but the more the merrier, of course.
Well, I had a blast last time. I got to play Delta Green with Nick, who DM'd that, and that was a blast because I had been wanting to play that game. So it was a great opportunity to play a new game that I've been wanting to play for a while, and running 3 games and meeting new people. That's how I met Pat. Actually, I met Pat at Extra Life, and
he played all day. He played 12 hours that day.
Yeah, 12 hours straight.
Yep.
I think I had to take an hour break in the middle of the day where I just had to leave and eat and cool down a little bit. Yeah, you were in a
unicorn costume. Yes.
Now you're gonna bring the costume back.
Yes, the costume. Next time you won't see me in this time, you'll see me in it for the November Extra Life event we're gonna do for the Christmas one.
Okay.
So I will be doing that one. This one I believe I can't remember. I don't want to misquote this, but it may be Mia or Jen.
Okay.
I'm not sure which one. Or Xavier. Xavier is on staff, so he can be mandatorily put in it.
Yeah, but he seems so willing to do it, and it's not fun. You didn't want to do it. You were like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. Did you have a good time though
Yeah, I did.
Okay. But it's funnier when it's not a willing participant.
Yeah, because Xavier did say that his talents would best be put elsewhere. So I don't think he really wants to. But
Okay.
But
Just see. Are there any plans to run any Warhammer during Extra Life?
I don't. We did have some suicide game mechanics that we're gonna involve for a possible game, but we're not sure yet.
Okay.
That might be one of the surprise open slots.
Okay.
That if you're just in the store and there's a 3 hour gap there, we might throw it in.
Okay. Rad.
And that'll probably be on the Sci-Fi Day.
Well, guys, that was Brady, also known as Kelvin Klein, the hero of Sanctuary Valley. Coming up next is Bill. Hey, welcome back. I'm sitting here with Bill, and we are doing interviews for this week's The Zombie Trail. Bill, you play John. I am not going to try to remember that last name. What's the last name?
Samuels.
Oh, it's Samuels. Why did I think it was some weird Norwegian? I know cheese is involved, right? And so Michigan, Wisconsin, I thought for some reason it big Schumacher cheese or something similar,
pure American cheese.
Pure American cheese. So, I asked Brady earlier, where did you get your name?
My first original idea for the character was a nature fanatic.
Okay.
And there are 2 big nature guys that I read a lot of, John Muir, and there's an artist called John Muir Laws. I was like, okay, we'll make another John.
Yeah, okay. the world could always use some more Johns. And that's one of the interesting things about your character. Basically, everyone's characters, they took the archetypes and they had fun with it. Like Brady is playing Calvin Clone, who is a European sports or a foreign sports enthusiast, which is a nice twist on the athlete character. And you've done kind of a similar thing. You're playing a fanatic, but not a traditional survivalist fanatic, religious fanatic, or a shooting fanatic. Your fanaticism is nature, which is
and, although probably more cheese.
Probably more cheese.
If I'm not thinking about cheese, I'm okay. But if John gets cheese on the brain, it's driving everything else out.
So John is a cheese fanatic, and for the viewers at home, if you hear clinking, the dogs are running around having a great time. Piper's there. Pet me, love me. So your inspiration was John Muir and John Muir Law. Have you done any cheese research on your character? I know on our Discord we've kind of gone back and forth a little bit on some cheese stuff.
Yeah, I don't know the gentleman's name, but there is a gentleman who travels around with a family of sheep that makes cheese. I'm not sure exactly his full technique.
Well, you shared that video on Discord, and I will, if I remember, I will put a link in the doobly-doo that you can click on and watch the video. It's actually really fascinating.
Remarkable gentleman who, I mean, making your own cheese and living with your own animals is an incredible thing.
Mary and I got into a deep conversation later on after I watched the video, explaining to her what it was. And in the video, they label him as homeless. And I brought this up on Discord. This guy is not homeless. This guy is a nomad.
He clearly labels himself as home free.
Home free. Yeah, no, and even his rotation, because he has to move every couple of days, or else the goats or the sheep's quit producing. Oh, no, it's goats. The goats.
No, he does sheep.
He does sheep.
Yep.
They quit producing milk.
Yep.
So that was actually because Mary studied anthropology in college. She's like, yeah, that's literally why nomads were nomads, as they were. It all started with them moving to keep the animals grazing and happy. Doing the thing that keeping them happy and doing their thing. So, I think me and you've talked a little bit about how your character ended up in Sanctuary Valley, enjoying the Republic. But for our viewers at home, why don't you go into a little bit about that backstory and how he ended up where he's at?
John needed a long hiatus from his life as inheritor of a cheese empire, and decided to pursue his studies of his namesake by doing a through hike and documenting all the nature and the trees and doing all that stuff that John Muir might have done. Somewhere along the through hike, probably pretty early, he got notice from home that things were going bad. His brother was shipping out the last of the stash boxes or cash boxes that were scheduled to go out, and his brother told him not to come home. So he kept on hiking and tried to keep dedicated to his task, despite I imagine it must have been an extremely barren and solitary type of life that he's spent making his way down the Pacific Crest Trail or something.
Right. Are you hoping for your character to meet his family again? Is there a brother who possibly is looking for John? Or is John pretty much like, you know what, they're good, I'm staying here and trying to make the world a better place?
I think John's brother mentioned that he was going to try to get out somewhere to meet him. So there's as much hope as you can have, I guess.
10% of the population, those are, it's better than 5%, right?
Yeah, like there's a chance. You got to keep looking.
Yeah, you just got to keep moving and keep rising.
And that's the kind of person who would join the Morticians.
Yeah.
You got to keep looking.
So as
even if you got no hope, maybe you just keep looking.
Even when everything's crap.
Yeah.
As the great intellectual Joe Dirt once said, you just got to keep on keeping on, man.
Yeah.
So far in the story, what are your thoughts, your hopes, your your ambitions for the zombie trail?
Well, I do hope John gets rennet.
He gets
rennet is what you need to make proper Wisconsin-style cheese curds. You need rennet to get the milk to curdle properly. Rennet comes from the. Excuse me if you're not comfortable with animal body parts. The first largest stomach of a week-old ruminant, so a goat or a cow.
the first week.
Yeah, or a sheep. It has to be a week old.
It has to be a week old.
I suppose you could maybe do it with an older one, but your chances of success are supremely diminished.
That's
no,
fair.
No, the week old has to be a week old because after a week their bodies adjust to eating grass and they don't need milk.
Oh, okay.
So it's whatever enzyme they have as babies to. So if he sees a baby goat or a sheep,
or maybe even decides to collect and breed a couple.
Yeah, if they're out there and the pace of the trail permits.
Yeah.
Because goats don't go very fast. And I don't think John, maybe Calvin.
Well, I purposely.
Calvin Clone would be willing to pedal one if we found a bicycle. He'd put the goat on the bicycle.
For this particular campaign, I'm purposefully making things slower. It does not take that long to walk from Merced to Bakersfield. You could go right down the highway on foot and get there in 3 days. It's not that hard of a journey, but with the dynamic of the storyline that we're creating for the zombie trail, I purposely bicycles and so I gave you guys a cart of stuff to slow you down, to kind of stretch it out as much as possible.
So I hope John gets to build that cart up and gets a goat to pull it. Maybe I hope John gets to interact with the nature of the area some way, to probably set it up so that it could be established differently maybe than it had been.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly how extensively he researched the area that he's going through, but as a mere fanatic, as a mere wannabe, he would definitely want to keep things natural and whole and make sure things are built back that way and less pavement. He's probably happy to see a lot of cracked pavement.
There's a skateboarding quote about engineers and all their modern marvels and a skateboarder's ingenuity of like finding happiness in a 5-foot square slab of cement,
of
uncracked cement. Now you earlier I was talking with Brady about the Dragon's Horde, and you volunteer a lot of time as a game master for them and a funeral director. I know you've run Mortician's games for me in the past and have done a really great job.
Thank you.
So what's that experience like? Are you still doing the new game? Or are you guys going to fire that back up, or what's going on with your table?
Yeah. Let's see. I do run a regular Sunday beginners D&D at Dragon's Horde. We're wrapping up an exploration into old school dungeons. We ran B1 in Search of the Unknown. It's a dungeon from 1978 that has been refitted and repopulated with 5th edition monsters and traps and treasures and stuff. That's going to finish up, and then we're going to start Phandelver and Below for the summer. So I'm prepping a lot of stuff for Phandelver and a bunch of goblins and a bunch of fun tricks and traps that goblins can make.
So you run the beginnings tables on Sunday. What else do you? I know you do Morkborg.
I do a lot of Morkborg and Cyborg games. Cyborg's been real popular lately. What else am I doing? Oh, I'm working on a big summer game. Hopefully, we're going to do a speed run of Descent into Avernus.
Oh,
it's an experiment.
So what's involved in a speed run?
We're going to do the whole campaign in one day.
Okay.
Most dungeon masters I'm hearing spend like 14 sessions on it.
Okay.
So it takes a better part of a year to run for most DMs. Some DMs, they put a lot into it. There's 3 or 4 major cities that you can go through.
Okay.
Travel between each of them, and then all of hell to explore. So
Oh, okay. Just a quick stop to hell.
Yeah.
No big whoop.
Lots to do. Plenty to do. So it's a big challenge there to identify what pieces of information need to be provided at which points to the players. Right. And which need to be detached from certain locations so they can all show up in the location that the players choose to go to or things like that.
Outstanding. Well,
I think that's most of my tables going on. Do I have anything else going on, Brady?
Off camera, ladies and gentlemen, we have Brady.
No, just cut it out.
Hiding in the corner.
He books most of my games, so that is true.
What else do we want to talk about? We'll go back on the subject of
I'm excited to do a Mortician's games for this Extra Life coming up.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're going to be running a Mortician's games.
I'm going to start a Mortician's game at level 4.
Okay.
So the characters are going to be a little more powerful.
Okay.
A little more experienced. I got to figure out what loot to start them with.
Okay.
And
so a great trick is to look at the enemy's damage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you have in the Mortician's world, if you guys don't know, the enemies are based off the character's level. So the enemies actually level, and then you add the flavor as you go. If you look at each at the level, so you're going to be starting at level 4, you have attack 1, attack 2, and attack 3. That's loosely unarmed melee and shooting.
Okay.
As far as those stats are concerned. So if you look at those percentages to hit
mm-hmm.
and damage output, that's how you can marry the equipment to your players.
Okay. Oh, so they should have doing a similar amount of damage to the zombies.
Exactly.
Okay.
So when balanced properly, players should always have anywhere between 75 to 50% chance to hit.
Okay.
And damage output should be comparable to each other. And that allows you to keep track of how many baddies you can throw at them. So it'll scale properly. So level 4 going, it's a boss would be like a level 8, and it's that will all scale appropriately with little tweaks here and there depending on what kind of types you want to throw at. Throw at them. You want to talk about the theme, or you want to keep that hush hush until Extra Life and surprise them?
Oh, well, put in a nice big spoiler bar here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, spoilers. So if you don't want to know what's going to happen at that Mortician's table, not a deep dive, but basically what will be the player's motivation, starting motivation.
Not the type of DM to prep deeply. I was thinking to myself, what would this is late after the apocalypse.
Right.
Things have kind of sort of settled, and we're starting to rebuild.
Yes.
So we're going to have situations where we have targets that we want cleared out and resources that we can do that with, and what's the best way to clear them out. So I thought it might be fun to throw a zombie social.
Oh, that's what you showed me. Because that's a great idea. I wanted to talk to you off camera about that and dive a little bit deeper on that, because I thought that was a really cool idea.
Yeah, so there's been a mishap with the zombie social. The zombie social is you gather zombies, pull them or attract them from one location that you want to get into, and naturalize them wherever you pool them. But something's gone wrong. So I've picked a local location that has a great kill spot, I think, and we have some complications that we'll discover at the table.
One of the first campaigns that I worked on for Morticians that will be released as a zine sometime in the next year or two. Because it's not my project. It's my nephew Jim Vree, Vree, who runs games on Roll20 all the time, and He's on the Discord. So one of the first ones that he put together, and I'm helping him out. We're gonna put it into a zine as a separate module that could be utilized for the Mortician's core rulebook.
Mm-hmm.
Is he did a what did he call it? It's a mall, right? So it takes place at a mall. I think he calls it Bloody Friday, playing on Black Friday, and basically the players get ambushed and captured by raiders who have set up base inside a mall, and then they play games with their captives. So they drop them in a store, and they have to collect items on a timer, and then they open the doors, and all the zombies that are in the hallway of the mall start going into the stores. And there's like key points, and then there was a bunch of other like side stories and everything. So awesome. you had this kind of and it's like a 2-story mall. So on the second floor, everyone's just looking down, watching, placing bets on who's going to survive, who's going to die. It's a lot of fun.
Very dungeon style.
What?
Very modern style dungeon.
Yeah, very, very, very much. So the whole idea of zombie socials and like, oh no, you have a large group that you have to deal with, and how you're gonna overcome those challenges is always fun.
Yeah.
So I think that's gonna be it for us today.
Yeah.
I told Brady, I'm really excited to do these. That was very loud.
It was pretty loud. And just one singular one.
Oh, I know what it is though.
Okay.
I know what it is. I had a piece of wood leaning up against something outside, so the wind caught it. So we just heard a very loud bang, and it's like, what the hell just happened? So that's going to be all with us with Bill. Bill, thank you for sitting on this interview. Hey, peace.